Hello there, garden fixers. If you're anything like me, you've wandered through those thrift store aisles wondering if that chipped teapot or rusty colander could bloom into something absolutely stunning. Well, today I'm sharing 23 secrets that'll have your neighbors asking, "Where did you get that gorgeous garden piece?" And you won't believe what hack 14 does with a broken umbrella. Welcome to Daily Garden Fix, where we turn forgotten treasures into garden gold without breaking the bank. If you love discovering beautiful garden magic on a budget that actually works, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. We've got soul-soothing tips and stunning transformations just around the corner. All right, here's your challenge. Before we start, comment "Thrift Store Ready" if you're hitting the secondhand shops this weekend. I want to see who's serious about these budget transformations. And stick around because hack number 21 uses something from Dollar Tree that'll completely transform your evening garden experience. Ready? Let's turn treasure hunting into garden magic. Hack 1. Vintage colander water feature. Got an old metal colander gathering dust in your cupboard? Here's something magical you probably never considered. Flip that colander upside down over a hidden water pump from Dollar Tree. Then thread fairy lights through all those perfect little drainage holes. What you get is an instant fountain that sparkles both day and night, creating this gorgeous cascade effect where water trickles down while tiny lights twinkle like captured stars. The sound is absolutely mesmerizing. That gentle trickling that makes your whole patio feel like a spa retreat. And the best part? You don't need any plumbing whatsoever. I positioned mine near my patio table using a solar pump. Now evening dinners happen with the soundtrack of flowing water and twinkling lights. My sister-in-law thought I'd hired someone to install a professional water feature. Her face when I said thrift store colander and Dollar Tree pump was priceless. Just position yours near an outlet or use a solar pump, and suddenly your garden whispers with trickling water and twinkling stars that dance together in the most enchanting way. Colander-style question: shiny metal for modern sparkle or rusty patina for rustic charm? I went rusty because I love that aged garden aesthetic. What's your vibe? Hack 2. Broken terracotta fairy village. Don't toss that cracked flower pot. I know it looks destined for the trash, but here's where we turn disaster into pure garden magic. Break it further into stepping stone pieces, but do it thoughtfully, creating chunks of different sizes. Now arrange these broken pieces like a tiny fairy staircase winding up your garden wall or around a tree trunk. Nestle small succulents in the cracks, add some moss between the pieces, and maybe even hide a few solar fairy lights underneath. Suddenly, your space has whimsical depth and these magical pathways that cost absolutely nothing but tell such beautiful stories. I created mine against my fence using 3 broken pots. Added tiny succulents, moss, and miniature garden accessories. My grandkids are obsessed. They check the fairy village every visit looking for new residents. And the best part? Every broken pot becomes a new expansion to the village. Instead of disappointment when pots crack, there's excitement for new building materials. Fairy garden people, are you team realistic miniatures or team imaginative natural elements? I mixed both, creating eclectic fairy world. What's your fairy garden philosophy? Hack 3. Old vinyl records garden art. Those old vinyl records from the thrift store with scratches too deep for music, they're about to spin into the most stunning garden art you never saw coming. Drill a few drainage holes around the edges, then use them as unique saucers under larger planters, or mount them on fence posts at different heights, creating rotating kinetic sculptures that catch sunlight and cast dancing shadows. The grooves create perfect water channels for drainage, and when a breeze catches them, they slowly spin and shimmer like oversized flowers turning toward the sun. I mounted 7 records on my fence at staggered heights, painted some metallic gold, left others natural black. They spin independently, creating this constantly changing wall sculpture. And here's what surprised me. Different records spin at different speeds based on their weight and mounting position. The varied movement creates mesmerizing patterns as they rotate out of sync with each other. Your garden gains incredible retro charm with moving elements that change throughout the day, proving that even music that can no longer be heard can still make your heart sing in completely new ways. Record mounting question: rigid mounts or loose swivel mounts? Mine swivel freely, creating maximum movement, but rigid mounts could work for displaying specific album art. What's your priority, art or motion? Hack 4. Old ladder herb spiral. Found a wobbly wooden ladder at a yard sale? Don't let those unsteady legs discourage you, because we're going to lay this beauty flat and transform it into something absolutely stunning. Position the ladder horizontally on the ground or against a slight slope. Then fill each rung section with different herbs arranged by height and harvest time. Start with low-growing thyme and oregano at one end and then graduate to taller basil and rosemary at the other. This creates an instant spiral herb garden that seems to reach toward heaven itself. I laid mine at a slight diagonal, creating natural drainage from top to bottom. The rung divisions keep different herbs separated, preventing aggressive growers from taking over. Now your cooking herbs cascade like a living recipe book that you can harvest daily. Every meal you prepare becomes a love letter written by your very own garden. And here's the maintenance benefit. The ladder elevates herbs off ground level, reducing pest problems and making harvesting easier on your back. No bending to ground level, pinching tiny leaves. Ladder orientation question: flat on ground or propped at angle? Mine's at 30-degree angle, creating better drainage and visibility. What works for your space? Hack 5. Thrift stored teacup bird feeding station. Those mismatched teacups and saucers calling your name from the thrift store shelf, they're about to become the most charming bird feeding station your neighborhood has ever seen. Mount them at varying heights on an old coat rack you can find for a few dollars. Then fill some with seeds, others with fresh water, and a few with tiny succulents for year-round beauty. The different levels create this delightful feeding hierarchy that accommodates birds of all sizes, from tiny finches to bold cardinals. I mounted 8 cups on a vintage coat tree, mixed patterns creating eclectic charm. Now my morning coffee comes with the sweetest soundtrack of visiting birds. Because every creature, no matter how small, deserves to dine in style. And honestly, watching birds sip from vintage teacups is more entertaining than anything on television. Teacup pattern question: all matching for cohesive look or all different for eclectic charm? I love mismatched, creating collected over time aesthetic. What's your style? Hack 6. Broken dresser drawer cascade planter. See that damaged chest of drawers someone left by the dumpster? Those drawers are pure garden gold waiting to be discovered. Pull them out carefully, give them gentle sanding if needed, then mount them in descending steps along your fence line. Plant each drawer with trailing flowers that spill over the edges like living waterfalls. Maybe some sweet potato vine, trailing petunias, or cascading nasturtiums. The effect is absolutely breathtaking as seasons change and different plants take their turn stealing the show. I created mine against my fence using 5 drawers. Waterfall effect down my fence. Each drawer hosts different color scheme. Top drawer purples, next blues, then pinks, oranges, finishing with yellows, creating a rainbow cascade. Suddenly, your boring fence becomes living artwork that changes with the seasons, proving that it's not just recycling, it's pure resurrection of forgotten beauty. And here's the practical aspect. Drawers pull out for easy planting and maintenance. Unlike wall-mounted permanent planters, these slide out, letting you work comfortably at table height. Drawer arrangement question: symmetrical stair step or organic scattered placement? Mine's geometric for modern look, but scattered could create cottage garden feel.
Hack 8. Vintage suitcase herb garden. That worn leather suitcase with broken latches sitting in the corner of the thrift store? It's about to embark on its greatest adventure yet. Line it carefully with heavy plastic sheeting, drill a few drainage holes in the bottom, then fill it with quality potting soil, creating a portable herb garden that can literally travel with the sun throughout your yard. As seasons change and sun patterns shift, you can simply pick up your entire herb garden and move it to the perfect spot. I used vintage hardshell suitcase creating mobile herb garden. Spring, it sits on east-facing patio getting morning sun. Summer, it moves to partially shaded spot escaping afternoon heat. Fall, it returns to full sun maximizing growing season. Now your kitchen herbs have stories to tell and adventures to remember. And you have the flexibility that every gardener dreams of, moving entire gardens without transplanting a single plant. The vintage suitcase aesthetic also adds unexpected charm. Guests always ask about it, creating perfect conversation starter about creative gardening. Suitcase style question: hardshell or soft-sided? Hardshells last longer outdoors. Soft-sided creates more rustic look. Both work beautifully. Hack 9. Old window frame vertical garden. Found a weathered window frame without glass at an estate sale? You've just discovered the perfect foundation for living art. Stretch chicken wire or hardware cloth across the back, then secure small pots in each window section, creating a grid of growing possibilities. Mount it vertically against a wall or fence, and you have instant living window art that changes with the seasons. I mounted mine on my garage wall, creating 4-season display. Spring shows tulips and daffodils, summer features petunias and marigolds, fall displays mums and ornamental kale, winter holds evergreen arrangements with pine cones and berries. Plant spring bulbs in some sections, summer annuals in others, and maybe some evergreen succulents for year-round structure. Your blank wall now blooms with organized beauty that changes monthly. It's not just a garden, it's truly a window into wonder that tells different stories each season. And here's the Instagram-worthy aspect: these photograph beautifully. Frame your plants in actual frames, creating very meta garden art. Window size question: small intimate frames or large statement pieces? I used 4-pane window, creating perfect grid. Larger windows could showcase bigger displays. Hack 10. Thrift store bowl water garden trio. Those mismatched ceramic bowls looking lonely on the thrift store shelf? They're about to become your personal Zen retreat. Group 3 different sizes together. Fill them with water plants like small water lilies or lotus, then add floating candles for evening magic. The key is creating different levels and textures, maybe one bowl elevated on a plant stand, another nestled among hostas, and the third reflecting sky from a low table. I arranged mine on my patio table. Large bowl in center, medium and small flanking sides. Added water lettuce, floating flowers, and battery-operated floating candles for evening glow. Your stress literally melts away as you watch lily pads dance in the breeze and candles flicker like prayers in the evening air. Peace isn't something you purchase, it's something you cultivate, one gentle ripple at a time. These water gardens create meditation spaces requiring minimal maintenance while delivering maximum tranquility. Bowl arrangement question: clustered grouping or spread throughout garden? Mine's clustered, creating water garden focal point. Separated could create multiple Zen zones. Hack 11. Dollar Tree tomato cage topiary. Those basic wire tomato cages seem so ordinary hanging on the garden center wall. But here's where we flip the script entirely. Turn them upside down so the narrow end points up. Then train ivy, morning glory, or sweet peas up through that narrow top opening. What you get are these elegant cone topiaries that look like they were designed by professional landscape architects. I made 4 cone topiaries flanking my front entrance, creating lush green sculptural elements. The plants naturally want to climb and spread, creating gorgeous full cone shape. Your garden gains the kind of professional design elements that usually cost hundreds of dollars, and sometimes elegance really is just about turning ordinary things upside down. The structured shape also provides instant architecture to garden spaces lacking definition. These cones create vertical interest and formal elements, balancing wilder plantings. Topiary plant question: evergreen ivy for permanent structure or annual vines for seasonal variety? I'm team annual vines, creating changing displays. What's your maintenance tolerance? Hack 12. Vintage milk crate modular garden. Those plastic milk crates from the thrift store are about to revolutionize how you think about garden layout. Line each one with landscape fabric to hold soil, then stack and rearrange them seasonally, creating modular raised beds that adapt to your changing needs and energy levels. In spring, create a low configuration for easy planting. In summer, stack them higher for better drainage and less bending. Fall cleanup becomes simple when you can just rearrange the whole system. I have 12 crates creating completely flexible garden system. Current configuration features 2x3 arrangement creating rectangular bed, but I've stacked them as towers, lined them as borders, and even arranged them as stepping stone planter pathways. Your garden layout changes with your needs, proving that flexibility isn't just for yoga classes, it's for gardens that grow and change right along with you. And here's the genius part. Each crate is independent container. If one plant fails, you just swap that crate rather than disturbing entire bed. Crate configuration question. Permanent arrangement or frequently changed? Mine shifts monthly, keeping things interesting. What's your commitment level? Hack 13. Old Boots Whimsical Planter Path. Loving these budget-friendly transformations so far? There's plenty more magic ahead, and this next one will make you smile every time you walk your garden path. Those worn work boots destined for the trash bin? They're about to take the most beautiful victory lap of their entire working life. Line them up along a garden pathway, fill each boot with colorful annuals that spill over the tops like celebration confetti, and suddenly, you have the most whimsical garden walkway anyone has ever seen. Choose different boot styles if you can find them, work boots, rain boots, or even old cowboy boots, each one telling its own story of honest labor and faithful service. I used 7 boots creating pathway to my shed. Each family member contributed their worn-out boots, creating truly personal garden feature. Every step through that path now carries memories. Every step through your garden now tells stories of hardworking hands and blooming hearts, proving that even retirement deserves its own special victory lap. And kids love this. My grandchildren remember whose boots are whose, creating connection between family history and current garden beauty. Boot style question? Keep original colors or paint them coordinating shades? Mine's all natural, showing wear patterns. Painted could create cohesive color story.
Hack 14. Broken Umbrella Trellis Magic. This is Hack 14, the broken umbrella transformation. That umbrella with torn fabric but perfectly sturdy spokes? Don't let that damaged canopy fool you into thinking it's worthless. Remove the fabric completely, give those spokes a fresh coat of outdoor paint in whatever color makes your heart sing, then stake the handle firmly in the ground. You've just created the perfect bean teepee or climbing rose support that adds instant architectural interest to any garden space. The spokes create natural divisions for different climbing plants, and the height draws the eye upward, making your whole garden feel more spacious. I made 3 umbrella trellises, painting them bright turquoise. Position them throughout my garden, planted with scarlet runner beans, purple morning glories, and pink climbing roses respectively. The color coordination between trellis paint and flower colors is stunning. Your vertical space blooms with purpose while adding the kind of structural element that garden designers charge big money for. Sometimes the most broken things make the strongest foundations for new beauty, and honestly, these umbrella trellises become conversation pieces that everyone asks about. Paint color question? Match trellis to flowers or create contrast? I went contrasting, creating color pop. Matching could create more subtle, integrated look. Hack 15. Dollar Tree Pegboard Garden Station. Need organization but absolutely hate the cluttered chaos of most garden sheds? Here's your solution hiding in plain sight at Dollar Tree. Mount a simple pegboard on your fence or shed wall, add hooks and small containers at different heights, and you've created the ultimate outdoor tool and supply station that keeps everything visible and within easy reach. Hang your hand tools, small watering cans, packets of seeds, even small pots and planters. Everything has its place and everything stays dry and organized. I mounted mine on my shed wall, creating complete gardening command center. Tools hang by task, pruning tools together, planting tools together, maintenance tools together. Seed packets organized by planting season in small mounted baskets. Your gardening flows so much more smoothly when you're not hunting for tools or supplies.
And organization really isn't just about tidiness, it's genuine self-care for gardeners who want to spend more time growing and less time searching. The visual organization also helps you see what you have, preventing duplicate purchases. Can't tell you how many times I bought seeds I already owned because they were buried in boxes. Pegboard color question, natural or painted bold color. Mine's natural wood, keeping attention on tools. Bright paint could create fun backdrop. Hack 16. Thrift store cake pan succulent display. Those vintage bundt pans looking for a new purpose beyond baking, they're about to become the most elegant succulent displays your patio has ever seen. Fill the center hole with decorative stone or pebbles for drainage, then arrange different varieties of succulents around the ring, playing with colors, textures, and heights, creating stunning living wreaths. The circular design naturally draws the eye and creates these perfect conversation pieces for patio tables or garden benches. I have 4 bundt pan succulent wreaths positioned around my patio. Each features different color scheme, one all green varieties creating textural interest, one purples and silvers, one oranges and reds, one mixed pastels. Your outdoor living spaces now feature artwork that never needs watering, rarely needs attention, and just keeps getting more beautiful as the plants mature. Beauty really doesn't always need to be complicated to be absolutely breathtaking. Sometimes simple arrangements in unexpected containers create the most stunning displays. Pan style question? Traditional bundt shape or hunt for unusual vintage molds? I found amazing geometric mold creating very modern succulent display. What treasures are hiding in your thrift stores? Hack 17. Old fence picket plant labels. Got broken fence pickets from a neighbor's renovation project? Those weathered wood pieces are about to become the most charming plant labels your garden has ever had. Cut them into stakes of varying heights, sand them smooth so they feel good in your hands, then paint them with chalkboard paint for reusable plant markers that weather beautifully. You can write plant names, planting dates, even little notes to yourself about care instructions. I made 30 markers using reclaimed fence boards. Different heights create visual interest throughout beds. The chalkboard surface erases and rewrites, letting me update labels as plantings change. Your garden stays organized while maintaining that authentic rustic charm that feels genuinely yours rather than store-bought. And even old boundaries can grow into something beautiful when we see their potential instead of their limitations. These markers prove that functional doesn't mean boring. And here's the weather advantage. Unlike paper or plastic labels that deteriorate, wood improves with age, developing beautiful weathered patina. Label style question? All uniform heights or varied heights. Mine varies, creating more organic look. Uniform could create more formal garden aesthetic. Hack 18. Vintage birdcage hanging garden. That ornate birdcage missing its little songbird, it's about to house something even more beautiful than any feathered friend ever could. Fill it with trailing plants like string of hearts, trailing jade, or cascading pothos, then hang it at eye level where it becomes an instant focal point that draws the gaze upward. The ornate metalwork provides natural support for trailing vines, and the whole effect is romantically charming in a way that photographs beautifully from every angle. I hung mine from my pergola corner, planted with 3 different trailing succulents. As they grow, they cascade through the cage bars, creating living sculpture that changes and improves constantly. Your garden gains the kind of vertical interest and romantic charm that makes visitors stop and stare, proving that sometimes old cages become freedom for something even more beautiful than what they originally held. The vintage patina on old cages adds instant character. New containers take years developing that aged charm these cages provide immediately. Cage size question? Small, delicate cages or large statement pieces? I use medium, creating focal point without overwhelming space. What scale works for yours? Hack 20. Dollar Tree rope light garden edging. Wanted to find garden beds without expensive hardscaping that breaks the budget? Here's a solution that literally lights your landscape every single evening. Bury Dollar Tree rope lights along the edges of your garden beds with the solar battery pack hidden nearby among plants. Suddenly, you have illuminated borders that guide your steps every evening. The soft glow makes evening watering safe and magical, and during dinner parties or quiet evening moments, your garden paths become these glowing rivers of light that transform the entire space. I installed mine along all my main pathway, creating complete nighttime navigation system. No more stumbling in darkness. The lit edges guide me safely while creating restaurant-quality ambiance. The best gardens always know how to light their own way through the darkness, and honestly, evening garden time doubled once I could safely enjoy my space after sunset. Light color question? Warm white or cool white? I use warm white, creating cozy atmosphere. Cool white could create more modern, sleek look. Hack 21. Thrift store serving tray seed starting station. Those silver serving trays looking tarnished and forgotten, they're about to become your secret weapon for seed starting success. Line them with a layer of pebbles for drainage. Add small pots filled with your favorite seeds, then add just enough water to create humidity without drowning your future plants. The metal conducts heat gently, the raised edges contain any spills, and your kitchen counter stays completely protected and organized throughout the entire germination process. I use 4 trays, creating complete seed starting system. Each tray hosts different plant family, one for vegetables, one for herbs, one for flowers, one for experimental varieties. The organization helps me track everything. Your seed starting success soars when you give those tiny plants the perfect environment from day one. Every master gardener knows that success always starts with that very first successful seed. These trays create ideal conditions, turning seed starting from frustrating gamble into reliable success. Tray material question: silver metal, copper, or enamel. Each conducts heat differently, affecting germination speed. What's available in your thrift stores?